Got to hit that mute button there, Carl.
There's something that's been nagging at me a little bit, and it has to do with social media. Now, I get that everybody's entitled to whatever opinions they have, but I'm seeing a lot of negativity, I guess you could say, coming around people, right? Which really kind of sucks.
Mm-hmm.
So talking about is a new person that has been doing some stuff with Sirius XM.
Right.
Now, this girl usually is on Octane, and new girl that's kind of come in. She was a TikTok star that Jose Metal Ambassador Mangan, kind of saw and was like, hey, I think that she would be a really good fit. Today I went on to Facebook and I saw a lot of negativity over this person, and it just kind of irks me a little bit, and I really don't know why, but it just irks me when people are being so brash, hiding behind a camera or behind a computer keyboard, if you know what I mean.
I definitely know what you mean. Definitely know what you mean.
Yep. And it's because, like, the people in our situation who, you know, we're out here doing this for fun. Would we love to make a profit at it? Sure. But we get those people who are working these shoot jobs, and they're thinking that all of these people, whether they're OnlyFans models or TikTok, Instagram influencers, and how are they making all this money? Well, guess what? These people are putting just as much, if not more, work in to what they do there than what we're doing here or in our shoot jobs.
Right. Yeah, I mean, they're doing so much, and they've got a passion just like each and every one of us do, right? And it's it just sucks when we're seeing stuff like that. And I can't even remember her name right now, and I'm trying to find it. You guys maybe know who I'm talking about?
I have an idea. I do listen to Octane every chance that I get, mostly when I'm writing with you, Carl. That's when we listen to our Octane. Right. So, but I do know of the story. I don't know the girl's name either, but when I saw the story myself, and I saw the comments as well.
Yeah.
In the back of my brain, I was like, I guarantee you these people in the comments didn't even look to see what this woman's credentials are.
Right. And for me, that's a huge thing, right? Like I want people to be able to take a look and see who this person is and like go through their credentials and find out, right? Now, this person is just starting out, just getting their feet wet in Sirius XM and with Octane, and generally only has a show that is on like midnight until 3 a.m. type of thing. So still kind of just making their waves, so to speak.
Yeah. And we here in Canada, we had much music. And I remember anytime a new video jockey, VJ, came in, there was a lot of people crapping on that person as well. It happened all the time, especially with one that I remember very distinctly, Rachel Perry, when she came in.
Yes.
I remember the amount of hatred she got. And I'm just like, I just kept an open mind and watched whenever she would host, and discovered that when she hosts, she plays good. She plays the music I like. So she became one of my favorites.
Right. And it's the same with the radio. We all have our favorite DJs. It was the same back then. Like, I was a huge fan of Erica M. I know I personally, I dumped on, at the time, he was Rick the Temp.
Yeah.
I dumped on him. But
again,
he turned me around, like, because he was consistent. He built up his credibility. And then, yes, he went on to Entertainment Tonight and other ventures.
Right.
He's also the only Much Music VJ to make an appearance in an NHL game too.
Yep.
And for him, it was a showtime beyond belief, just like it is right here.
Oh yeah.
And it's technology. We have issues sometimes. I don't get why, but sometimes we do. Unfortunately, that was one of those little glitches where the computer decided to start playing the intro instead of our little kicker. So for that, I apologize. That's all on me. Something that we can't apologize for, though. And Chris, you had brought this to our attention. I want to start with Cody Rhodes tonight. This is no apologies necessary.
This is also no apologies and no surprise at the same time. But Cody Rhodes, for I believe what is the second, maybe third month in a row, is now the top merchandise seller in the WWE. And he is now on track to outsell John Cena and Stone Cold Steve Austin. Two dudes who, I would never, ever have thought would be ever outsold. Especially Austin.
Stone Cold for sure.
Yeah, especially Austin today. I mean, like I go to WWE events still, and I still see those Austin 316 shirts flying off the shelves.
Not even just going to WWE events, but you go to your local promotional events that are happening, and there are still people repping Stone Cold merchandise when coming to independent shows.
Yeah, at the last CWE show, you and I worked at, Carl, I saw about 3 or 4 Austin 316 shirts in that crowd.
Right? Yeah, it's insane.
But this is awesome for Cody, and let's face it, some of the merch he has is just top notch.
Oh, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
At the same time, and I don't want to be that guy, but I'm going to be that guy, does it maybe have a little bit to do with some nepotism because of his last name?
Oh, no, definitely not. I can guarantee you no on that one. This is Cody and Cody alone doing it all.
Okay.
If that were the case, why didn't Charlotte Flair's name be mentioned in any of those?
Right. And I remember very little Charlotte Flair merchandise.
Right.
Why isn't Dusty Rhodes merchandise a top seller as well? Because we know Dusty still has merch on the WWE store.
Now, to go along with this story, I have seen online, and I've had people messaging me as well saying, well, they have a lot more different things that they can give as merchandise nowadays. And I had to kind of sit back and look at it and then make a couple of responses to be like, well, in actuality, no.
It's all
when you think about it, Stone Cold, had hats, t-shirts, action figures, 8x10s. So Cody has all of that as well. So Cody has his weight belts.
Mm-hmm.
Stone Cold had the vest.
Yep.
There were jackets that were made.
Yep.
There were shorts that were made. There were all these other different items for Stone Cold that were made that Cody necessarily does not have.
Stone Cold had a bar of soap.
Right?
After him.
Yep.
A bar of soap.
Yeah.
And people were buying it. Stone Cold also had his own fragrance at one time.
Yep.
I actually don't have it.
Stone Cold even at one time had his collection of Stone Cold Metal and Stone Cold Country in record stores.
Right. I forgot about that. But yeah, that is so correct.
But
I actually have one of those bars of soap, not the Stone Cold one, but I have it was a talking bar of soap.
Yeah.
Like what?
But here's the thing, the top 5 sellers, since we're on the subject of Austin as well, the top 5 sellers for May were number 5, Stone Cold Steve Austin. Yeah, he's still on the list.
Wow.
Number 4, Roman Reigns.
Okay.
Number 3, Jey Uso.
The Movement, I get it. Yep. Yeet.
Number 2, CM Punk.
Interesting.
And number 1, Cody Rhodes.
So now, is that only a top 5 list or is the list longer?
No, it's only showing the top 5 on the website I'm on right now, which is Wrestling Inc. I'm gonna Ringside News. Sorry, I'm gonna give Ringside News a shout out on this one. Yeah, but this is just blowing my mind. I mean, talk about a guy like who, what was it, 5-6 years ago, left the WWE because he wanted to bank on himself.
Mm-hmm.
Well, now he's making that bank back.
And then some.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I mean, and let's not forget that Cody does have his wine collection as well.
Yes. But Stone Cold has his alcohol.
Exactly.
Yep.
The Rock has his tequila.
That's true.
Yeah, and I'm betting that if there was more on that list, I'm betting Rock is number 6.
See, I was only asking because I'm interested in who the first female on that list would have been.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I'm only seeing a top 5. I'm gonna I'll dig deeper at some point and find the biggest list. But this is all according to WrestleNomics, who've reported that Cody is the top seller. WrestleNomics is usually extremely correct on their financial figures with WWE and pro wrestling.
Yeah, they generally are. Since I know we're all watching it right now and that we really haven't had a lot of discussion around it, let's take a look at NXT and what's happening right now. Now, I'm 15 seconds behind because my program is still, kind of giving me some issues. But I want to talk about the WWE including more secondary championships. And we're seeing that right now on NXT that's happening live with the NXT Women's North American Championship. Some amazing contenders in there. Honestly, I don't know all of them, but I do know some of them. And it's pretty cool to see Michin as part of that as well. What are your guys' thoughts on the WWE introducing or including more secondary championships for women on the program?
I am all for it. I would love to see it on the main roster. We are seeing the depth added to the tag team division and the tag team titles.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But it seems to be that the women's titles revolve around only a select few, with, the odd people getting their random shot.
Okay. I feel that.
I would love to see a women's Intercontinental Championship for Raw, a women's US title for SmackDown. I would be okay with it. I would even be okay if you wanted to do one title and have that champion go to both brands.
That's where I was going to go with that. Have one, because we do know that there is a lot more male competitors than there are female competitors in the WWE. So just like they're doing with the tag team championship, having them go between all shows, you could do the same thing with a women's secondary and have them go between all shows. Now, I don't believe that they're going to be doing that with the NXT North American Championship, but you never know.
You never know, because we did see Dom go with the NXT North American title to Raw.
Right.
We've seen Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler challenge the NXT Women's Tag Champions to unify the women's tag titles.
Right.
So, I mean, I'd love to see those women's tag titles go to NXT to be defended. I do think, though, that Bianca and Jade is just too powerful a team for the NXT competitors. As long as they get the rub and a good show, I would be okay with that.
Right. Chris, what do you think about this?
I'm actually going to take the opposite approach and say I don't want to see a secondary NXT Women's Championship or NXT Women's Championship, Women's Championship on the main roster, because it already feels like there's too many titles. As it is, we don't really want to go the AEW route where there's too many titles and not enough meaning behind the belts.
Okay.
Right.
So I kind of like the fact that right now they are treating the NXT, or I'm saying NXT because I'm watching NXT and I've got the North American Women's Championship on my screen, right? the women's tag team championships do feel like a secondary women's title to me already.
Okay.
And we've got our list of contenders for that. We've got our list of contenders for Bailey. We've got our list of contenders for Liv Morgan as well. However, on NXT, I'm fine with them having this title because of the fact that we almost never see the NXT women's tag team championship on NXT. So I'm okay with that because of the fact that there are a ton of women competing in NXT right now.
Okay, I feel that. So just to sum all of that up, we essentially what you're saying is that because there is no tag team championship on NXT, you're okay with the inclusion of the secondary championship for the women because of the amount of women that are there. But when it comes to the main roster, they already have 2 shows of women's championships and the tag team championships. And for you, that's enough.
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm happy with that.
Okay.
And again, like OMD said, there's nothing stopping the NXT Women's North American Champion from going to the main roster with the title, maybe. And because we saw Becky Lynch do that with the NXT Women's title as well. We saw Charlotte do that when she was the NXT Women's Champion. So it wouldn't be too much of a big problem for me.
I mean, we did that. I mean, to throw it way back, we saw Paige as the NXT Women's Champion move to Raw and win the Divas title.
True.
Hell, to even throw it to the men's side, we saw Kevin Owens bring the NXT title to the main roster.
Yeah, we did.
That's right.
Yeah, we did. Interesting. Good stuff for NXT right now. And for all of you that are listening, join us on Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on our channels, as there is going to be a special edition of the Boar's Nest where they are welcoming in Throwback, and they're going to be talking about NXT and the amazing things that are happening right now inside of that promotion. That is Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Make sure that you're checking out all the socials for that. Since we're checking things out and we're talking about pro wrestling, as we always do, what does FX have up their sleeve, Mr. Best?
FX is something that's really intriguing to me, considering how they described what they've got going on. But they are making a pro wrestling sitcom. And the way they described it, it's going to be like The Wrestler, Mickey Rourke's The Wrestler, meets Dazed and Confused. Both those movies I absolutely love but for their own reasons.
Right.
So I'm trying to figure out in my head, I'm like, how do you mesh those two together when they're completely, separate from one another?
Yeah, I'm dazed and confused right now as well.
Yeah, but when I saw who's actually behind it, I'm like, oh, I get it now. Luke Hawx is the one who's behind it, who is serving as a producer on the show. And I saw that, and I'm like, okay, I know where we're going with this.
Right.
He served as a consultant on the TV show Heels. Fantastic show, by the way. Even if you're not a wrestling fan, check it out.
Yeah.
Aside from wrestling movies and shows, Hawks has also landed roles. He's also been in The Fast and the Furious. He was in Logan. He's worked for NWA as recently as 2022. Just a little bit of a history on this man. He's been around the world. This guy knows how to do production. He knows how to do wrestling scenes. Kind of excited now to see what Luke Hawx is going to pull out of this one. It's going to be a 30-minute, your typical 30-minute sitcom. But again, The Wrestler and Dazed and Confused all in one. That's got me hooked and intrigued, and I've got to see what they do with this.
So I just want to make sure that we're talking about the same Luke Hawx. That's HAWX, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So yeah, he's worked with a number of different companies, from Extreme Rising to the independent circuit, where he worked with Wrestling Society X.
Yep.
Which huge promotion as well. The Continental Wrestling Federation as well. Extreme Pro Wrestling, and even a little bit of time within the World Wrestling Entertainment in 2003, and then from 2007 to 2010 as well.
Yeah, he mostly worked as enhancement talent during that time.
Yeah.
But to see the guy, you would remember him for sure.
Okay.
Yeah. Absolutely insane. And this is something that I think is going to be pretty cool. Do we have a working title for it yet?
That's what I'm trying to look for right now. It's only been pitched right now. It has yet to be it says here it has yet to be given a name. It's set to be set in the Los Angeles Independent Circuit, with the direction of the show being a cross between the 2008 drama The Wrestler, which is, Darren Aronofsky and Mickey Rourke.
Yeah. And Marissa Tomei.
Yeah, Marissa Tomei. Oh God, she was awesome in that movie. I will give her that.
Yeah.
Oh.
And the 1993 stoner comedy Dazed and Confused. That's, again, stoner comedy. That's where it's got me intrigued.
Right. It was a very different type of movie as well, but that's yeah. So OMD, I want to throw it over to you for a moment here, and I just want to get your take on more companies or more people trying to do professional wrestling, either television shows or movies, because we've had like Heels that's out there. We just had Iron Claw come out not that long ago, which for me was fantastic and touching, emotionally touching for me anyways. What are your thoughts on more people trying this stuff?
I am excited for it, to be honest, because the more that this industry and this sport gets, the more promotion, the more publicity, the bigger it's going to be, and it's going to grow a new audience.
Right.
So now you're going to bring in maybe that fan who sits down and watches an episode of this sitcom. Then they're going to see that Raw is on a Monday night or NXT Tuesday. Oh, maybe I should check this out because maybe somebody from the show is getting TV time.
Right. Yeah, very possible. Yeah.
You're also seeing that, like a guy like Stephen Amell who did Heels, and I know we're fans of him from the Arrowverse.
Yep.
He's a huge wrestling fan.
Oh, yeah.
He worked with Cody Rhodes both at SummerSlam a number of years ago, and then as well as a member of the Bullet Club.
Yeah, I was going to say, he's been in the ring.
Yeah. So, and you've got Freddie Prinze Jr., who has been an actor and a devoted lifelong fan. So the more promotion.
And a writer.
Yeah. And wants to start his own promotion.
Yeah.
So he's also been the head of creative.
And Freddie's work with WWE isn't quite done yet. He still does A&E's Rivals.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, 100% he does.
But we're also forgetting one of the bigger names in Hollywood who became a world heavyweight champion, that being David Arquette. Can you imagine his involvement? It's a sitcom. It's right up David Arquette's alley.
Oh,
right.
Would be.
Yeah. Never thought of that.
Oh, I never thought about Arquette. I mean, that's been what, 20, 25 years now.
Yeah. And I mean, we've already seen numerous celebrity crossovers. I mean, going back to the WCW days with Dennis Rodman, Jay Leno, Karl Malone. Yeah. We do see it in the WWE, not so much anymore.
Well, I mean, we're getting it right. We're getting it tonight on NXT with Sexy Red. So,
yeah, well, so we see that, and I mean, let's not forget WWE Studios.
Yeah,
who produce numerous movies, giving their talent the opportunity to go and act.
It actually surprises me that WWE Studios is still a thing because they don't advertise their movies when they really should be.
Right?
Yeah, they definitely should be. This person, I believe, should be in the movies as well. And OMD, you brought this subject up. We're talking about Moose.
Moose. Yes. Okay. This is one that excites me because this came out today. As we already saw on NXT tonight, Jordan Grace, who is doing the crossover and competing at Battleground, she came out and stated that TNA World Champion Moose desperately wants to come to WWE and NXT. Her words, Moose called me and he was like, "Why didn't you tell me? Why didn't you tell me you were doing this?" She said, "You have the biggest mouth out of anyone. That would have been out 5 minutes after I told you." And he says, "You should tell HBK I want to come over." So she was not a problem. So
Okay.
This is exciting. We have been knocked on our asses with Jordan Grace's appearance last week.
Yeah.
And,
Yep.
to come back out tonight with NXTNA written on her jacket.
Right.
For anybody who checked out the Boar's Nest last week, we had a fantastic 2-hour discussion, just spitballing ideas about this whole thing.
It still blows my mind that we were able to pull a 2-hour episode off of one discussion. And we did have other topics that we wanted to talk about, but Jordan Grace being the biggest news story of last week. I mean, come on,
Yep.
Yeah.
And we are all sorry, Chris, go ahead.
I was going to say, we have firsthand account on what Moose had said. As one of our own, Chris Parrish, recently worked with Moose WrestleMania weekend. And he asked Moose, would you ever consider appearing in the Royal Rumble? Moose then told him, "My checkbook is open."
Which is a weird thing to say. And we say, "Good evening, Joe. Good to see you, brother. Thank you so much for coming in. My checkbook is open." I mean, if he had said my calendar's open, maybe would have made a little bit more sense, right? But he wants somebody else's checkbook to be open, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, we are all fans of Moose here.
I enjoy his work. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, I know that Carl and I at least go back as far as watching him in Ring of Honor.
Yes.
I go back about that far too.
Okay. So to see how far he has come in that last decade, it's amazing. And his loyalty to TNA has been fantastic because we know that there were talks of him moving over to WWE and getting pushed right to the main roster.
Right. There were talks of it. Yep.
His loyalty to TNA, second to none. So to get him for this type of a crossover, I would absolutely be enthralled. I would love it.
Right.
Me too. And I think that during our showstopper segment, we can cover a little bit more and talk a little bit more about crossovers within professional wrestling.
I already can't wait for that segment. Just not going to lie.
This person has maybe done a little bit of crossover herself, but not necessarily within the world of professional wrestling, but into possible promotion for herself and what could come later, or even with her still in the WWE. OMD, I know that you had kind of brought this up a little bit, but we're talking about Tiffany Stratton, who has, to our understanding, signed a deal, a contract with Paradigm Talent Agency, and they're banking on Tiffany Stratton. What they're banking on is this deal with the WWE and Netflix, this billions of dollar deal, and they're hoping that this is going to put more of a shine and a limelight on Tiffy Time and make them money, I figure. Do you have any other information on it, OMD? And what are your thoughts on these stars signing these contracts?
I am all for it. Again, this is her reaching out to branch out throughout her career.
Right.
As well, I mean, they said it here too. Paradigm hopes to model Stratton's career on trajectories flown by Dwayne Johnson, John Cena, and Dave Bautista.
Wow. They're putting that much faith in her.
That's a pretty big reach right now.
She's still got time. I mean, she's quite young. I'm not sure exactly how old she is. I believe mid-20s. So she's still young and has a long, long way to go. But we've already seen her come from a gymnastics background with not an ounce of wrestling experience to now being celebrated internationally when she goes to shows. So I could absolutely see this. We know she stated that she has a love for acting and she wants to get into that in the future.
Right.
But right now she is focused on this, and good for her. She's banking on herself by signing this deal as well. Because if it's going to make them money, it's got to make her money.
It's very smart for a 25-year-old to have the wherewithal to even think about something like that. As terrible as it may be to say, a lot of the youth and the generation of today really aren't thinking towards that type of stuff. They're more focused on the here and now as opposed to the future. So for her at 25 years old to already have these aspirations from after a wrestling career to go into other avenues of still entertainment and performance, good on her.
Right.
Chris? Go ahead, OMB.
I was going to say, let's not forget that these people have a full legal team and lawyers and agents and all of that behind them, and probably doing all of the negotiations, just waiting for the John Hancock to be signed.
Right.
Yeah. This is actually a really good move for her, because what's the one thing all three of us have been told at the start of training for pro wrestling? It's very hard to make it in this business. Make sure you have something to fall back on. I was told that in pro wrestling. I was told that in the film industry. I was told that in theater acting. Have something to fall back on.
Well, and I mean, you look at what a lot of these guys and girls have for their education. I mean, Drew McIntyre is a criminologist. Wade Barrett's a marine biologist.
Right.
You know, D'Lo Brown was a CPA.
He still is, actually. Britt Baker, she's a dentist.
Exactly.
She actually, Britt Baker still, it amazes me that she can wrestle and keep her practice going. That blows my mind that she can do that.
Yeah, right. She's also the official AEW dentist.
Yeah, she is too, actually.
Well, that's good for her, keeping her employed two ways.
Right.
I hope she's getting 2 paychecks.
This is also something that I know that just about every wrestler has to do. That every wrestler does get an agent regardless. I'm looking at Booker T on my screen. I know he's got an agent. I know Stone Cold has one. The Rock obviously has one. Batista, obviously John Cena. All of those wrestlers have those agents to help them explore outside of the wrestling world as well.
Right.
So
maybe
again,
I need an agent.
Yeah, I did have one, but she moved.
Yeah,
actually, I might need to get back into contact with her because I heard she might be coming back to the Sioux. So,
oh, nice, very, very nice. Tiffy Time could be seen on television and big screen. Maybe soon. Maybe.
And I know that this is all because of the Netflix deal. And when OMD said that, it got me thinking with this WWE Netflix deal, I'm kind of now looking forward to seeing the wrestlers not necessarily in the wrestling spotlight on a Netflix. Maybe seeing like The Miz appear in one of Adam Sandler's Netflix movies or something like that would be really cool.
Okay. That would be interesting. I mean, there have been lots of people. I was discussing this with some people at work the other day, and like just talking about different names that have been in the acting world as well, and some that we haven't even seen, like Shredder and Super Shredder. Right? We didn't get to see their faces, but they were pro wrestlers. Right. And then like it's insane. Roddy Piper was here in our hometown filming. We've talked about that before. So
I've talked about it way too much.
Yeah. So for all of that, I think it's great. And I would love to see that. Again, we're talking crossovers a lot tonight. I would love to see that type of a crossover as well, where we're going to see, more wrestlers being in, maybe not necessarily having to be in major roles, but being part of movies and
we see
made
this,
for Netflix ones.
Could we see this resurrect maybe some WWE studios? We know that they've just built a new studio for WWE studios. Could we see this Netflix deal result in that? Even going back,
that's the reason why. Maybe that's the reason why a new studio was made, is because that was maybe because we don't know the details on this Netflix deal. Maybe that's part of it, is that they have to maybe produce for Netflix only videos and movies from their studio, right?
If that's the case, then please, for the love of God, put See No Evil on a streaming service, please.
Yes.
Both of them,
please.
And I mean, let's not forget, even going back a few years, there was the Big Show on Netflix.
That's right, there was.
And that was a WWE produced show.
Yes, and it was actually quite enjoyable. I did watch a few episodes.
Also, because it also, not a lot of people know this, but it is also part of WWE Studios. Please, for the love of God, put No Holds Barred on a streaming service as well.
Right. And I think that might be what's going to happen. We will probably see all of these become, Netflix or go onto Netflix, right? Especially if it's going to have the WWE. I'm sure that Netflix is probably going to have its own section specifically for the WWE.
That's the one thing I've been trying to figure out, and the one thing I'm hoping for is that they do have their own section for WWE, so that when I go onto Netflix, when the WWE deal happens, because I will be getting Netflix because of that.
Right.
When I go in there, I want to be able to go to WWE and see just WWE. I want to be able to go in there and go WWE. Okay, I want to watch Monday Nitro, and then scroll down to the section that says WCW, and then Monday Nitro somewhere.
Right. Yeah.
I want it to be as easily approachable as the original version of the Netflix was, or the original version of the WWE Network was, because this current version is not that user friendly in my opinion.
Not, and does not include everything that it once did either. Especially for us in Canada, when we're looking at when we're using the Sportsnet.
Right, the
version.
when you're using the Sportsnet version, but I've got the actual WWE version, and it still has everything there.
Okay.
But that app, not user friendly at all. It makes it very difficult to find things.
Wow. You know who's not going to be hard to find soon, anyways? That's Jinder Mahal. Jinder Mahal, after his WWE release, is going to be making an appearance. Where is he making that appearance?
He is making an appearance with a company by the name of WrestleCade. He will be appearing in... sorry, our ad popped up in front of me here. he made an announcement. WrestleCade took to their official Twitter account, made an announcement that Jinder Mahal will be appearing at the WrestleCade event November 29th and the 30th and December 1st. So it's a whole weekend of stuff that he's doing there. He will not be using the Jinder Mahal name, though. He is going under the name of Raj Desi. That's Raj, RAG DHESI. That's going to be his name on the independent circuit now. But this is the first announcement coming out of the release from him. I'm actually excited to see that because we all knew when he got released from the WWE that there was going to be a plethora. There's that word again, a plethora of companies looking to take this guy and bring him on to do things.
Yeah.
I already whispered this, but I said, Danny Duggan, get on it.
Yeah. Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
So for those of you that don't know, WrestleCade is a convention that happens in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, North Kakalaki, however you want to say it. And there are a lot of pro wrestling guests that are going to be there from every era that you can think of. Raj Desi, the Maharaja, as he's still being called. But then you've got like Loverboy Dennis Condrey, Ahmed Johnson, my friend Al Snow, Amazing Maria, Allie, or the Bunny from AEW.
Formerly of AEW. She's not there anymore.
Formerly, correct. The American Males, Angelina Love, Ariel and Kevin Thorne, Baby Doll, the Beer City Bruiser, and I'm skipping over a bunch of names here. Billy Starks, Billy Gunn, Buff Bagwell, Cash Flow of OVW, Danhausen, who is absolutely everywhere, Dennis Rodman, Elias, formerly known as Elias, now Elijah, Doug Basham, Hollywood. I keep getting that wrong every time, and I absolutely love this girl. Hollywood.
I do too, and she's still my number one girl.
Right? From OVW, you got Jim Ross, Jeff Hardy, Hoovy, Kurt Angle, Matt Hardy, Riddle, Rhett Titus, Ricky Morton, Sabu, man, Sean Waltman, Team 3D, the Dudleys, Tennille Dashwood, Collie, Veda Scott, good for her. I love that girl, my friend Veda. Henry O. Godwin.
Wow.
Like so many, Dana Brooke, like so many different names that are going to be there. And I love that it's across generations as well.
I'm
so yeah, I just wanted to make sure that everybody knew exactly what WrestleCade was, and that if you're there or going to be in the area, definitely go and make sure you get yourself a ticket for this event. They are on sale now.
You mentioned in that list the American Males, and I want to give a shout out to Scotty Riggs, who appeared in Battle Riot 6 this past weekend, and he looked fantastic. DDP, you've done wonders again, man. He was only in the match. He was only in the match for like about 5 minutes, but he looked good. He looked really good out there.
Right. And that's not to mention, I can't remember, but Buff Bagwell making his return to the ring as well, soon to be, in a tag team match. I believe it's actually an OVW, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay. Interesting.
But no, I kind of want to. I wish I had the money to go to WrestleCade, take a flight down there and go.
Right?
Because
the
amount of 8x10s I would come home with is just unreal.
Right? Right? I think I would too. There would be a lot of them. Ticket prices aren't too bad. You want a 3-day pass in, and they kind of do it all by like, there's a wrestling ring that is there, obviously. And then they do it by the sections. You're looking at about $225 for the 3-day weekend pass.
That's incredible pricing.
Yeah. Yeah. Row 4, sections A to C include the Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. You're looking $225. Or you can go with different seating, same row, 3-day weekend for $125. So it's all depending on kind of where you want to sit.
Now, let's not forget that that's for the whole 3-day weekend. That's only, that's usually for like, I take it that's only just going to be access to get inside, right?
I believe so. Yeah.
So you might want to, so for you guys who are going to the show, bring some extra money, because the 8x10s, action figures, those are going to be sold separately by the respective talent.
Oh, yeah. Yes, they will be. Oh, yes, they will be. And they do have merchandise available as well. That is, that's already out for that. And then they do have extras as well. You can skip the line VIP pass for an extra $50 and, you know, stuff like that. So good for them. WrestleCade has been around for a very, very long time. And I am very happy to continue to see WrestleCade happening.
Yes.
We need one of these years, we need to plan a trip down there. Just gonna put that out there.
But how many trips can we plan as a group? We're already looking at SummerSlam 26, WrestleMania 43, WrestleCade. Let's not forget WrestleCon, which also goes WrestleMania weekend.
Well, WrestleCon is just as good as WrestleCade, so I mean,
yeah, true.
We'll
plan all the trips.
I mean, maybe we should try and do a WrestleCade or a WrestleCon and try and book something here that's accessible for us.
Maybe.
Or maybe we talk to the guys who run NerdCon to try and get some wrestlers involved.
That might be a good idea too. I think we could definitely talk to them and see if we can get some show-stopping talent to show up as we make our way to our showstopper segment.
On his feet. Oh my God in heaven.
So our showstopper segment for this week, if you were watching in video format, there's the graphic, all eyes on wrestling. If you're listening to this, we have a picture of Jordynne Grace with her Impact Championship and a couple of little logos that are on there as well. That was the graphic that we used for this show. Guys, we've talked about it pretty much at length going through today's episode about the world of professional wrestling and just how amazingly hot things are right now. And it really does seem like at this point, all eyes are on professional wrestling.
Yeah.
And I'm loving that it's almost, it's not there yet, but it's almost at the popularity level of the Monday Night Wars, but kind of below Attitude Era. You know what I mean?
I do.
So it's kind of almost on point with how popular professional wrestling has been in the past. And with the inclusion of other companies that are coming in and making names for themselves now as well. And yes, I'm going to include AEW in there. Ring of Honor is still there. Impact Wrestling or TNA Wrestling is still there. There's a number of different companies that you can check out and see and just be happy with the professional wrestling atmosphere right now. Are you guys noticing more eyes on professional wrestling? Chris, we'll start with you.
I'm going to go ahead and say yes, because from a personal experience that happened to me the other day, my sister, who is she is not a wrestling fan, period, messaging me and asking me about Jordan Grace the other day.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, she was like, she happened to be at a friend's house, she was saying, and they were watching wrestling, but she was just there to chill, have coffee, whatever. And she asked me, who is that big blonde woman in wrestling right now? That she had a hard time describing her. She's like big, blonde, muscular, and I'm like, oh, that's Jordan Grace. She's making, and she's like, yeah, who is she? I'm like, she's making massive waves in wrestling right now. She is right now. She's the TNA women's champion. Which is and I explained to her, they're the number 3 promotion in the world right now, TNA.
Yep.
But I consider TNA number 2, but that's besides the point. I explained a little bit of a history on Jordan Grace and why she's making waves right now, and how she came to still working for TNA and coming over to WWE and doing things too. And I explained to them that yes, they do still compete with one another, but there's a working agreement there, and we're going to be seeing a bit of crossover promotions between these two companies, and we're getting that also in AEW with CMLL to a lesser degree. However, with AEW and CMLL, I do wish that there was more of an explanation on who the wrestlers are coming from CMLL.
Right.
I'm going to say yes as well. And as Chris alluded to, you've got that AEW working partnership with CMLL. You've got it with New Japan that has been successful for a couple of years.
Yep.
Now, this is the first time we're seeing WWE branch out to really do this cross-promotional type of thing.
Right. Branching out to other promotions. Yes.
Mm-hmm. So we've seen it. I mean, AEW does have Ring of Honor as well under their umbrella.
Yep.
The problem I have with that is AEW and Ring of Honor just gets way too confusing because you've just got a mishmash of rosters.
Right.
Whereas with this NXT or WWE and TNA partnership, you've got 2 rosters. You know who's coming when they show up, you know who's there, and you know who they're with. But the only drawback to all of this is still all the tribalism. And I'm seeing it run rampant. I saw a thing today, and it was, I'm going to post the actual run times and how much actual wrestling occurs on each show. And it was like AEW 1 hour and 22 minutes on a 2-hour show. TNA had, 1 hour and 48 minutes, and WWE had 53 minutes in a 3-hour show. But you look at the quality of the matches. You've got to look at the quality over the quantity. Mm-hmm. And again, it is the tribalism that is just drawing people. I've seen fans and tribesmen kicked out of wrestling groups that I'm in because all they wanted to do was bash and run tribalism.
But if somebody's being impartial and giving for all of the companies, how is that tribalism?
He was criticizing because he was still saying, like, this is, AEW is the greatest promotion out there, just showing and making the comparison and trying to run WWE down because of less actual in-ring wrestling than.
Okay. So yeah, that wasn't put across very very openly. So that's why I was a little confused. I'm sorry about that.
No worries.
But here's the thing. What WWE show was he trying to compare?
Dynamite to Raw.
Okay, because
minutes of wrestling on a 3-hour show.
Because I'm watching NXT and there's been nothing but wrestling on this show.
Right.
The same thing happens on SmackDown. It's nothing but wrestling.
Right.
Raw, on the other hand, yes, Raw has quality matches. Raw also has quality storylines, and that's to me where AEW lacks. You know.
Oh, absolutely. But again, like I'm still gonna go out and I'll put it on just to see if it catches my eye, if there's anything intriguing.
Mm-hmm. And that's the thing about this whole all eyes on wrestling thing. We're getting people from outside the wrestling industry coming up and asking us questions about what's going on in the wrestling world right now.
Yeah.
Take, for instance, like my sister asking about Jordan Grace, a wrestler she shouldn't have any business knowing about. But
Right?
she found out about her.
Yeah.
That's intriguing to me, is that we're getting, and lapsed wrestling fans are starting to come back to the product as well.
Yep, they certainly are. I have known a few people who have decided to kind of start getting more involved in watching the product as opposed to not seeing any of it
Yeah.
at all, which is absolutely fantastic.
No, it's just I'm just so glad that once again wrestling, as Bobby Heenan once put it, and when he was in WCW, wrestling is cool again. It's always been cool for us, but
yeah. And as everything is going right now with all eyes on wrestling, make sure that you're keeping all eyes on us here as well. Chris, where can people keep their eyes on you?
Before we say that, I want to say a great big shout out to a good friend of ours, Mr. Tom Nephew, Carl. What's happening, Tom? It's been a minute since I got to talk to you.
Just doing my weekly shows,
but it's
man.
so glad
doing
to
the
have
weekly
you
shows.
Here. I froze up.
Yeah, that's typical.
Okay,
we're used to it.
Okay, am I here now?
Yeah. Oh yeah, you're here. Maybe he's not. He's all frozen up there again. So OMD, let's go to you then instead.
Not a problem.
Yeah, I'm lagging.
All right. The people can find me on Facebook at Daniel Hrycyk, HRYCYK, on Snapchat, One Man Dynamic, capitals on O, M, and D, on Twitch at OMD17, and Discord OMD6370. Visually, Monday nights, you can catch me right here on Turnbuckle Studios and the Boar's Nest with the Raw Preview Review Show, followed immediately on Turnbuckle Studios with the Raw Patrol, with Carl Carafel, with Chris Best, Bubba Duke, Chris Parrish. Tuesday nights right here at 8:05, again with these two fine gentlemen. I'll use that term very loosely, with Turnbuckle Talk. Thursdays on the Boar's Nest with Bubba Duke, which is normally gaming and streaming. This Thursday, we are going to use a different format and the kickoff to the Turnbuckle affiliation program, as we are going to have NXT Talk with Throwback. And on Fridays, the SmackDown Security Detail, hosted by Chris Best and myself.
Chris Best, let's go to your socials. Maybe not. He seems to be frozen up again. You can find him on YouTube at CBRS Entertainment, on Twitch at CBRS_entertainment, threads.net at CBestFilms83, Facebook, Chris.Best83, TikTok at CBRS.entertainment is where you can find Mr. Chris Best. I make things super simple for everyone. Follow me over on my Linktree, linktr.ee/Carl Carafel. That is linktr.ee/KARL KARUFEL. And if you guys are so inclined, please make sure that you're checking us out on Good Pods, where you can listen back to the past shows and even give us some amazing ratings over there as well, which really helps boost things for us. We were at number 1. We're now sitting at number 2 in the top 5 indie shows for the week. And we're always sitting within the top 10, but we would love to be sitting in the top 1 spot for all of the different areas. Tom, thank you so much. Yeah, Good Pods is amazing. Please go and check out Good Pods. For Chris Best, for OMD, and for myself, Carl Carafel. This has been Turnbuckle Talk, episode number 375. All eyes on wrestling, June the 4th, 2024. Remember, everyone, the world is a scary place. Take care of each other.